Today is the last day for wiring. We got all the last plugs and all the terminals. This is the big guy. This is what was keeping the Ferrari from starting on day one. We used a 2 gauge. It kind of worked, but now we have 0. I've seen this online. I've seen audio dudes do this. Process is simple. You take a blowtorch, a vise, you heat that guy up, and you just pull up some solder in there. Ooh, and then you stick the wire.
I'm gonna go ahead and explain this process because Calvin is covering his face with the proper equipment. But what he's doing is he's gonna be heating up this terminal ground so he can melt the solder inside of the new ground. The reason for that is normally when you solder 2 wires together, you are applying solder on top of the wires that you are trying to connect. But because this is a one-way end, there's no 2 ends to connect, he's literally just gonna be making a pool of that solder at the bottom of that ground so that when he sticks the big 0 gauge ground in it, it's pretty much gonna glue itself into the terminal, therefore making itself permanent.
We are just days away from getting this Ferrari back on the road for the first time. We're gonna be finishing up some wiring today and finishing up the last pieces of the radiator.
The last thing we need to finish the whole entire front harness is these 4 clips. So we're gonna be soldering these on, as well as patching up some grounds today.
If you guys are hockey players or benders like TJ, get some hockey tape. It looks factory and it's beautiful and it makes your loom look good. Don't look at my loom because it's a bit bunk. It's a bit bunk. Don't.
So Calvin not only soldered all these wires together, but he also repinned this plug, which was pretty cool. Going a little bit extra mile there, Calv.
So other than that, I think that was the most intensive plug that we have, and I'm just sitting here on the sidelines cheering Calvin along because this is not my personal strong suit. But once we finish that plug, there's just a couple more simple plugs, right, Calv? And then a couple more grounds, and it should be complete.
2 pin plugs and some grounds. And then I don't have to stand in here anymore and we can put in the bucket. If you don't need to solder, then don't. I suggest you get yourself some of these things. They're called pin removers. So when you go to remove connectors, you can push them into the connector to remove the tip off of them, because I don't know about you, but cutting and soldering takes longer than this. It's a simple tool. On the pin, there's a retention clip, top and bottom for these pins in particular. So I stick these inside the hole and then pull on the wire, wiggle it a bit, and then you take the new one and you just repin it. Boop. Job done.
With some added help with me, but mainly Calvin, masterminding that bad together, the front harness is now officially complete. All the clips have been changed out. There's no leads that are cut off. All the grounds are done. We're gonna mount the harness to the chassis of the car, and we're gonna remove the front bumper. We're gonna take closer steps plumbing the front radiator coolant system.
So while the wiring harness is in, we're judging where it goes. So it has to plug into something. So right here is where the headlight is, and this is the headlight plug. So we're chasing it and following it through, trying to find OEM holes to put the clips into. TJ's discovering this kind of thing, clipping here, and we made a huge discovery over here. In one of the boxes, it came with this headlight ECU. TJ was holding it up and I was like, where the hell does that go? I'm like holding it against the arm or the crash beam, and I'm like, where does this go? And TJ goes, oh, hey, check this out. And it fits right in there. Nice. Good eye, Teach.
So we've been getting a lot of comments too about people being like
So frustrated, like it's kind of like that OCD mentality of like, this is yellow and that is white. A lot of people are asking, are you gonna paint that? Please paint that, please fix that. If you didn't see the beginning of the videos, when I decided not to paint this car to match the rest of the car, I decided just to wrap it just for now, just to kind of save costs. When we do the wide body, the whole entire wrap's gonna be coming off and this car is gonna go into paint. When the car then goes into paint, then I'm gonna go ahead and paint all this. I did that as a form just to save money right now, because sending this into the paint booth and painting the front bumper, the fenders, and the hood when we're only gonna run it for a month, and then we have to repaint the whole new kit when it comes in. To me, it was just a waste of money and just a waste of time. Yes, this is yellow right now, and yes, it like is mismatched and looks like McDonald's, which I'm okay with that. You're not gonna see it when the car's on the road. It will be getting repainted once the car goes in for the wide body. So just want to answer that because I'm seeing a lot of comments about that. Our parts from Ferrari are now in, and it is just these little bushings. These bushings isolate the radiators before going into the frame. So now that these are in, we can actually start hard mounting everything, which means we're just that much closer to finally getting this cooling system completely closed and ready to be driven.
Way ahead of you, Teach. I'm already in it. I'm already Monkster. So the idea here, it was temporarily mounted with zip ties.
Oh,
the new water cooling loop has a different pipe because the other one was bent. Eric came down, welded it, and we have to undo everything to get this to fit because the spacing is very tight.
All right, so we have a connecting tube for the radiators that goes right here to right here. We haven't exactly figured out how it sits quite yet. We at least know the way that it oriented, meaning like we know that this line goes off the left because that's what connects to the overflow towards the back of the car. But getting it to fit perfect is gonna be kind of a mystery. So we got that bushing in. We got this bushing in, and we also got the bottom bushing in, and this side's already done. Once we finish that, we're gonna be running this hose all the way down to the connecting coolant pipe that goes to the back of the car, that goes to the overflow. And we're gonna do a once-over check to make sure everything is tight, and we could actually potentially fill the car with coolant right now.
All right, with both of these radiators mounted on the car,
We have the middle coolant pipe with the drain line coming all the way down. This hooked it up. That's one that runs all the way to the back of the car that goes to our overflow. I went through and tightened all of our coolant lines in the back and all these lines in the back, so everything should be tightened up. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in the washer fluid bucket.
Getting a tube inside of a hole, gotta put a little lube on it there.
oh, little lube.
Little lube.
Now it makes sense.
For the last time,
We have to tighten up the clamps on both the bridges, and then Calvin actually right now is gonna go ahead and plug in 3 more clips into the wash bucket.
and that's huge progress, boys.
We redid this bridge coolant pipe and it is now where it is supposed to be. Plugs are where they're supposed to be. Guys, this car is literally where it's supposed to be.
Now, if it wasn't 8 o'clock, I would run down to Ferrari and pick up the coolant that is specific to this car. We actually have a bunch of coolant that Peak actually sent us, but it's not the one that Ferrari says to run. Now, whether or not it really matters, I'm sure there's gonna be a big internet debate about that, but I'm not gonna be the test guinea pig on this Ferrari. So first thing tomorrow morning, we'll run down and we will try fill this thing up with coolant and let it run properly and do the official first run and let this car actually idle for more than 2 minutes, because we've been running it with no coolant, just making sure it hasn't been getting too hot, but now we have the complete closed system and our power steering is closed. We can fill that up, check for any leaks, and kind of just do a baseline before this car actually hits the streets. Are we leaking anywhere? Is everything functioning properly? So that's a big step. Today was the day where we got to the point where we're about to start it and let it run.
But guys, I am just so proud. Like, I am so incredibly proud. This car looks amazing.
The thing that's just gnarly is it's not that hard. Like, it's really not that hard. This car was easier to work on, and maybe that's because there wasn't a motor right here getting in the way of everything. And while we didn't take apart a Ferrari motor, and you know, that's kind of another level, but putting together all this and just understanding it has been such a learning experience. And I'm so happy with our progress.
This is where we're gonna end off today. It's looking beautiful, boys. I couldn't be more proud of where we are, and I couldn't be more proud of what we've done in the shop.
On that note, I will see you guys first thing in the morning. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and keep